They thought they got away with it. They thought betraying you was the end of the story, that you would suffer, while they walked away free. But here's the truth: nobody walks away free. What they did to you is haunting them, not because you chased them, not because you punished them, but because life has a way of holding a mirror to every soul. This is Stoic karma. It doesn't come with fire and thunder. It doesn't announce itself loudly. It moves in silence inside their mind, their heart, their conscience, and no matter how hard they try to bury it, they cannot escape it. The Stoics understood this well. The worst punishment is not delivered by others, but by yourself, when you must live every day with the weight of what you've done. In this video, you'll discover why those who wronged you are never at peace, why their betrayal eventually turns against them, and how Stoic wisdom reveals that karma is not just real, it is inescapable. Stay with me until the end, because once you understand this, you'll never waste energy chasing revenge. You'll see that the greatest justice is letting life and their own guilt do the punishing for you. Betrayal always feels like a sharp cut, quick, deep, and unforgettable. In the moment, it looks like the one who wronged you is walking away free, untouched, maybe even satisfied. But what most people fail to see is that betrayal never leaves the betrayer unscarred. It clings to them like a shadow, following them long after the act itself. This is the invisible weight of betrayal, the weight that Stoic philosophy understood so well. When someone betrays you, they may look strong in the moment. They may laugh, celebrate, or even convince themselves that you were the weak one, the disposable one. But the Stoics remind us, he who does wrong is more miserable than he who suffers it. These words from Seneca capture a timeless truth. The one who commits injustice always carries a heavier burden than the one who receives it. Why? Because when you are wronged, you suffer once, but when they wrong you, they suffer every time they remember what they did, and the memory never leaves. It becomes a weight pressing on the conscience, sometimes hidden under layers of pride and denial, but always present, the prison of their own actions. Think about how the human mind works. We are wired for conscience, for self-reflection. Even those who seem heartless are not free from this law. Deep down, everyone knows when they've crossed a line. They may justify it. They may distract themselves. They may run from it. But at night, when the world is quiet, their mind begins to whisper. The silence becomes deafening. That whisper says, "You broke trust. You took what wasn't yours. You betrayed someone who would have stood by you." This is the invisible prison that betrayal creates. No one else may see it, but they live in it every single day. Real-life example. Imagine a colleague at work who undercuts you, taking credit for your project. In the moment, they might get recognition, maybe even a promotion. It looks like they've won, but months later, when their lack of real skill shows, when their reputation begins to falter, they know exactly why. They remember that they didn't earn it, they stole it. That knowledge becomes their invisible chain, eroding their confidence from within. Or think of a relationship where someone cheats. At first, they may feel powerful, even justified, but over time, the face of the one they betrayed lingers in memory. the laughter, the trust, the love they broke. It plays like a silent film they can't turn off. That memory haunts them, not just once, but again and again. And the more they try to bury it, the heavier it becomes. Why this matters to you. Here's where Stoic wisdom gives you freedom. You don't have to chase revenge. You don't have to prove them wrong. You don't even need to make them feel guilty. Life has already done that for you. The invisible weight of betrayal is already at work. And it is far more punishing than anything you could engineer. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. In other words, the one who wronged you already carries their punishment. Your task is not to sink into their misery, but to rise above it. The contrast of two paths. Think about the two paths betrayal creates. For the one who was betrayed, pain becomes the starting point of growth. If you choose Stoicism, you turn suffering into strength, pain into wisdom, loss into discipline. But for the betrayer, their path leads downward. Their gain was shallow, their victory temporary. But the guilt, that invisible weight, becomes permanent. And this is where Stoic karma reveals itself. Karma isn't always some mystical force striking from the outside. It is the natural consequence of actions living inside the human heart. The betrayer doesn't escape. They carry the burden with them, like a heavy stone tied to their spirit. Closing reflection. So the next time you think they've gotten away with it, remember, they're already paying the price. Their betrayal is their sentence. Their guilt is their prison. Their conscience is their judge. And while they're weighed down by what they did, you are free to rise. You are free to choose peace, discipline, and self-worth. You are free to walk away lighter because the weight was never yours to carry. That is the invisible justice. That is the Stoic truth. The betrayer always carries the heavier burden. The human mind is powerful, but it is also merciless. It never truly lets go of the truth, no matter how much someone tries to bury it. That's why guilt is such a brutal punishment. It doesn't fade when the lights go out. It follows them into the night, into their dreams, into the quiet moments when there's no distraction left. When someone betrays you, they may act as if nothing happened. They may laugh, move on, or even pretend to forget. But behind the mask, guilt is simmering. It lurks in the background like a shadow, waiting for silence to arrive. And when it does, guilt speaks louder than anything else in their life. The science of restless guilt. Psychologists tell us that guilt and shame are two of the most persistent emotions. They loop in the mind, replaying memories again and again. Unlike anger or excitement, guilt doesn't burn out quickly. It festers. It lingers. It clings to the conscience and poisons every attempt to find peace. That's why the betrayer often struggles with sleepless nights, anxiety, or even sudden bursts of anger. It's not random. It's the unprocessed guilt bleeding through their behavior. They can hide it from others, but they can't hide it from themselves. Seneca once wrote, "Every guilty person is his own hangman." That image is brutal but true. Guilt ties the noose, places it around their neck, and tightens it with every memory of what they've done. You don't have to chase them. Their own mind is already punishing them. Real-life example. Imagine someone who cheats in a relationship. At first, they might feel untouchable. They tell themselves, "You'll never find out," or that you deserved it. But weeks later, they see something that reminds them of you, a place you went together, a song, a scent. In that instant, the memory floods back, and in that moment, guilt speaks louder than their excuses. They may try to ignore it, but it returns again and again, like waves crashing on the shore. Or picture someone in business who lied to get ahead, pushing aside a colleague to climb the ladder. At first, they feel clever, but then, every achievement feels hollow. Why? Because deep down, they know it wasn't earned, it was stolen. And every time they look in the mirror, they don't see success. They see fraud. Why their nights are heavy. The reason their guilt never sleeps is simple. You can escape other people, but you can't escape yourself. They can move cities, start new relationships, find new jobs, but wherever they go, their mind goes with them, and the mind never forgets. This is why many who betray others find themselves restless. Even when life looks good on the outside, they can distract themselves with noise, but the moment silence enters the car ride alone, the sleepless night, the quiet morning, the guilt returns, and the silence becomes unbearable. The Stoic view of guilt. The Stoics didn't believe in external punishments as much as they believed in internal justice. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." The betrayer is never truly free, because their lack of mastery enslaves them to guilt. Their conscience is their prison guard. Their memory is their punishment. And this is where you gain perspective. You don't need to spend your energy wishing for revenge. Their guilt is already doing the work. It is their shadow, their companion, their tormentor. It whispers in the silence, in the dark, in the moments they wish they could forget. Closing reflection. So when you wonder why they seem unsettled, why they can't hold still, why they lash out or run from commitment, remember this: their guilt never sleeps. It keeps them awake at night. It steals their peace. It poisons their victories. That is Stoic karma at work. Not a lightning bolt from the sky, not a curse from outside, but the simple, brutal truth. No one escapes themselves. And while they toss and turn under the weight of their guilt, you are free to rest, to grow, to live. Their punishment is that they cannot escape the haunting echo of their own actions. When most people hear the word karma, they think of some mystical force striking down wrongdoers with cosmic justice. But the Stoics saw it differently. To them, karma wasn't about the universe punishing you with lightning bolts or curses. It was about the inescapable consequences built into your own actions. Betrayal, cruelty, dishonesty. They don't need an outside judge. They carry their punishment inside themselves. This is the law of Stoic karma. Every action plants a seed, and that seed grows into the life you must live. If you plant deceit, you harvest paranoia. If you plant betrayal, you harvest guilt. If you plant cruelty, you harvest emptiness. No one escapes this law. because it doesn't operate out there. It operates in here, in the human mind, the human conscience, the human soul. Why Stoic karma is real. The Stoics believed that justice is woven into the fabric of life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bee." In other words, when you harm others, you harm yourself, a society, a relationship, a family. It's all a hive. To poison another is to poison your own world. This is why betrayers always pay a price. Even if no one sees it, they may appear to win. But what they actually win is isolation, distrust, and inner turmoil. Because the law of Stoic karma ensures that no unjust act leaves the doer untouched. Real-life example. Think of someone who constantly lies to get ahead. At first, they may seem successful. They cut corners, manipulate others, and rise quickly. But eventually, paranoia eats away at them. Why? Because once you build life on lies, you can never trust anyone else's truth. They suspect everyone the way they know themselves to be. That's the karma. They poison their own ability to trust. Or imagine someone who betrays a loyal partner. For a while, they might feel empowered, even liberated. But over time, the same betrayal they committed comes back as suspicion. Every new relationship they enter is haunted by the thought, will they do to me what I did to someone else? That is karma. Not mystical, logical, the cycle of consequence. The law of Stoic karma shows us that every act carries within it its own consequence. You don't need to wish bad things on someone who hurt you. Their actions are already boomerangs, and those boomerangs always return. Seneca said it plainly, every guilty person is his own executioner. The betrayer becomes their own destroyer. Their mind replays their wrongs. Their spirit corrodes under the weight of dishonor. Their life narrows because trust, respect, and love slip away. Why this is freedom for you. Here's why understanding Stoic karma matters. It sets you free. Once you grasp that justice is self-contained, you no longer waste energy plotting revenge. You don't need to be the judge, jury, or executioner. Life through their own conscience, their own paranoia, their own regret is already delivering justice. And this is where you rise higher. Instead of focusing on their downfall, you focus on your rise. You invest your energy into discipline, growth, and peace. That's the beauty of Stoicism. It reminds you that the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's becoming untouchable. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." And that's the core of Stoic karma. Their actions destroy them. Your actions elevate you. Closing reflection. So the next time you wonder whether karma is real, look closer. It may not always strike in dramatic, cinematic ways, but it works quietly, relentlessly. The liar becomes paranoid. The betrayer becomes haunted. The manipulator becomes isolated. That is the law of Stoic. Karma actions always return to their source. And while they are trapped in the consequences of what they did to you, you are free to rise above it all. Calmer, stronger, wiser, because in the end, karma doesn't have to chase them. It's already inside them. When someone betrays you, they expect noise. They expect you to argue, to shout, to demand answers. They expect drama, confrontation, even revenge. Why? Because those reactions feed their ego. Even your anger is proof that they still matter. But when you answer with silence, when you refuse to argue, refuse to explain, refuse to even acknowledge their betrayal, something far more devastating happens. Your silence becomes the greatest punishment they could ever face. Why? Silence hurts more than words. Words can be twisted. Explanations can be ignored. Anger can be mocked. But silence cannot be manipulated. Silence leaves no space for them to escape, no narrative for them to control. It leaves them with nothing but themselves. And that's the punishment. Silence is a mirror. It forces them to look at their own actions without distraction. No excuses, no drama, no defense, just the raw weight of what they did, staring back at them in the emptiness of your response. This is why silence unsettles them so deeply. It denies them the reaction they crave. It exposes the hollowness of their victory. It whispers louder than any words. You are not worth my energy. Real life example. Imagine someone spreads lies about you. They expect you to chase them, to correct every rumor, to defend your name. But instead, you say nothing. You carry on with dignity, focused on your work, your growth, your peace. At first, they might think they've won, but slowly, their lies collapse under their own weight. People begin to see the truth, and in the silence you maintained, their guilt grows unbearable. Or think of a toxic ex who betrayed you. They expect shouting, tears, desperate questions. But instead, you disappear. You cut off contact. Rebuild your life quietly. That silence doesn't just punish them, it terrifies them, because it shows they no longer have power. And nothing shatters a manipulator's ego more than realizing they no longer matter to you. The Stoic philosophy of silence. The Stoics prized silence as strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Silence was not weakness to them, but discipline. It was proof of mastery, the ability to choose when not to react. When you remain silent in the face of betrayal, you embody this principle. You rise above the chaos. You show emotional intelligence. You prove that you will not waste your soul on people unworthy of it. That's not weakness. That's power. Why silence becomes a punishment. Silence punishes them in two ways. One, externally they lose control of the story. Without your reaction, they have nothing to spin, nothing to fight against. The narrative collapses, leaving them exposed. Two, internally, they are left alone with their conscience, and conscience is the harshest judge. Every day of your silence is another day their guilt festers. Another day their mind replays what they did. This is why silence is more powerful than revenge. Revenge consumes your energy. Silence conserves it and turns it into a mirror that punishes them far longer than any outburst ever could. Closing reflection. So, understand this when you stay silent. You are not weak. You are not ignoring justice. You are delivering a justice deeper than they ever imagined. Your silence is their prison. Your silence is their torment. Your silence is the punishment they cannot escape. And while they wrestle with the emptiness of your absence, you walk away freer, stronger, and untouched. That is the quiet power of Stoicism, to let your silence do what words never could. Time is the one witness that never lies. It may be slow, but it is relentless, and when betrayal happens, time always works in your favor, because truth, like water, always finds its way through the cracks. When someone betrays you, in the beginning, it may look like they've won. They might laugh, boast, or even appear to flourish. To outsiders, it can seem as if the wrongdoer escaped untouched, but that is only the surface. Time has a way of peeling back illusions, exposing what lies beneath. Why time is the ultimate judge? The Stoics understood the patience of justice. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Time is like a river of events, and its current is strong. No sooner has something appeared than it is swept away, and another takes its place." This means that no matter how powerful a lie looks today, it cannot endure. Lies require constant effort to maintain, but truth requires none. Time, therefore, erodes deceit naturally, and with each passing day, the betrayer must live with the crumbling weight of their own falsehood, the slow unmasking. At first, their mask may look convincing. They may put on smiles, surround themselves with noise, distract themselves with new people or new ventures. But time strips away masks. Over weeks, months, years, their character shows. Their choices compound, their patterns repeat, and what they tried to hide becomes obvious. That's why you don't have to rush to prove yourself. You don't have to defend, explain, or fight. Time will do that work for you. Your job is to stay steady, to keep walking your path with discipline and integrity. Real-life example. Think of a toxic coworker who took credit for your ideas. In the short run, they might enjoy the spotlight, but as time passes, their lack of true substance becomes clear. Projects start to fail under their leadership, and people begin to see the truth. They can't deliver what they claimed. Meanwhile, your consistency and results speak for themselves. Time vindicates you, while it condemns them. Or consider a friend who betrayed your trust. At first, they may spin the story, painting themselves as the victim. Others may even believe it for a while. But time exposes character. As the months pass, people begin to see patterns of dishonesty, disloyalty, or manipulation, and slowly, the truth about them rises to the surface. While your silence proves wiser than any defense could have, time plus silence equals justice. Here's where Stoicism shines. Silence and time together are unstoppable. Your silence denies them the drama they crave. Time denies them the illusion of victory. And together, they form a justice stronger than revenge. Because revenge is temporary. Anger fills. But silence and time, they work quietly, constantly, relentlessly. They don't just punish the betrayer, they transform you. While they unravel, you evolve. While they are haunted, you are healed. Why this matters to you? Understanding the justice of time frees you from impatience. You don't have to force outcomes. You don't have to demand apologies. You don't have to chase validation. You can rest in the confidence that time will expose the truth, and when it does, it will speak louder than any argument. Seneca wrote, "Time discovers truth." That single line is a reminder: trust the process, focus on your growth, your discipline, your peace. Because when the dust settles, time will show who you are, and it will show who they are. Closing reflection. So when you feel tempted to fight, to scream, to prove your worth, remember this: your greatest ally is time. Betrayal may sting now, but the story isn't over. In the long run, the truth always wins, and the ones who hurt you will find themselves standing before a mirror. They can no longer avoid a mirror held up by time itself. That is Stoic karma in motion, no force, nor revenge. Just the quiet certainty that time always reveals the truth. Betrayal may look like freedom in the moment. To the one who wronged you, it feels like they've cut ties, escaped responsibility, and moved forward without consequence. But that illusion doesn't last, because regret is always waiting. It may take weeks, months, or even years, but it comes. And when it comes, it chains them tighter than any prison ever could. Regret is a prison of the mind. The Stoics understood that the most painful punishment isn't external, it's internal. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Betrayers are never free. Because regret takes away their self-mastery, they replay what they did in their minds. The look in your eyes when they hurt you, the loyalty they threw away, the trust they shattered. And the more they try to forget, the stronger those memories become. Regret doesn't vanish with distraction. It multiplies in silence. Unlike guilt, which strikes immediately, regret grows over time. At first, they convince themselves they were justified. But as life unfolds, reality hits. They lost something they can never get back, and that realization breaks them from within. Real-life example. Think about someone who betrays a loyal partner. At first, they may feel powerful, believing they've upgraded or escaped. But years later, when they face loneliness, failed relationships, or a hollow sense of success, regret knocks at their door. They remember the one person who gave them unconditional love and realize they can never return to what they destroyed. Or picture a family member who betrayed your trust. In the moment, they might justify it with excuses or pride. But over time, when family gatherings feel emptier, when connections fade, when respect is lost, regret begins to whisper. You pushed away someone who would have stood by you. Why regret is inescapable. Regret is powerful because it comes from truth. You can deny guilt. You can justify mistakes. You can distract yourself from pain. But you cannot rewrite the truth of what you lost. And truth always resurfaces. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You will not live another 1,000 years. Death hovers over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." Wrongdoers forget this. They act as if life is infinite. as if their choices carry no weight. But time reveals how limited life really is. And when they finally see how much of it they wasted on betrayal, regret crushes them. The double weight of regret. Regret punishes them twice. 1. By memory, they relive what they did to you. The moment they crossed the line. The trust they shattered. 2. By reality, they see what they lost, the loyalty, love, or respect that can never be regained. And, no matter how successful they appear, those two weights sit heavy on their soul. Your freedom from regret. Here's the beauty of Stoicism. Regret is their punishment, not yours. You don't carry their shame. You don't chase closure. You don't need their apology. By living with integrity, by choosing peace, by walking away, you free yourself from regret while they drown in it. This is why you must not lower yourself to revenge. Revenge often breeds regret in the one who seeks it. But silence, dignity, and growth leave you untouchable. Their regret becomes their punishment. Your discipline becomes your freedom. Closing reflection. So never think they escaped. They didn't. They may smile on the outside, but regret corrodes them from within. They can run from you, but they cannot run from themselves. That's the haunting power of Stoic karma. Betrayal plants the seed of regret, and time waters it until it grows into a prison they can never leave. And while they're haunted by what they did to you, you are free to live, free to rise, free to find peace. On the surface, they may smile, they may show off a new relationship, a new job, or even brag about how well life is treating them. But beneath the surface, there is a darkness they cannot escape. A silent storm follows them everywhere. The storm of betrayal, guilt, and regret. This is the truth. Most people don't see when someone wrongs you. Their punishment isn't always public. Sometimes it is hidden, buried deep inside. But it is no less real. In fact, it's often worse, because it eats away at them silently, slowly, and relentlessly. The shadow of their actions. Every betrayal creates a shadow. It lingers in their memory, in their conscience, in the way they see themselves. They may try to ignore it, but the shadow follows them into every new chapter of life. They can run to new people, but the shadow comes too. They can distract themselves with noise, parties, work, or even addictions, but the shadow waits in the quiet. And in those quiet moments, they are confronted with what they did. That is the darkness they live with. Seneca once said, "A guilty person sometimes has the luck of escaping punishment, but never the luck of escaping fear, and that fear of exposure, of karma, of their own conscience, keeps them locked in a cage you will never see. But they feel every day. Real life. Example. Picture someone who betrayed a loyal partner. Outwardly, they move on quickly, flaunting a new relationship as if nothing happened. But months later, small cracks appear. They project suspicion onto their new partner, fearing the same betrayal they committed. They can't trust, because they know what betrayal looks like. They've done it themselves. That suspicion is the darkness that poisons every new connection. Or think of a person who betrayed a close friend for money or opportunity. They may buy things, celebrate wins, and post their success online. But at night, when the applause fades, they know the cost of their gain, the destruction of trust, and that knowledge sits heavy, turning their victories hollow. Why darkness grows instead of fading. The problem with betrayal is that its consequences grow over time. Lis recueille maintenance. Guilt festers. Regret compounds. What they thought would fade only becomes stronger the longer it is suppressed. That's why the darkness doesn't leave them. It grows. It twists into paranoia, anxiety, and fear. Every silence feels like judgment. Every disappointment feels like karma, and every success feels fragile, like it could collapse at any moment. The Stoic perspective. The Stoics knew that inner corruption is worse than outer punishment. Marcus Aurelius reflected, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When someone chooses betrayal, their soul is stained by it. No matter what mask they wear, the color of their actions seeps into everything. This is why their darkness is inescapable. It's not about what happens to them on the outside. It's about who they've become on the inside. And once you betray, lie, or deceive, you carry that identity, whether you admit it or not. Your freedom from their darkness. Here's the most powerful part: that darkness belongs to them, not you. Too often, the betrayed waste time wondering if the other person is happy, if they got away with it. But the truth is, they didn't. Their happiness is superficial. Their victories are hollow. Their peace is non-existent. Meanwhile, your silence, your discipline, your commitment to self-mastery protects you from that same darkness. You rise while they sink. You sleep while they toss and turn. You walk in peace while they wander in chaos. Closing reflection. So don't be fooled by appearances. They may look fine on the outside, but inside, they are haunted. They live with a darkness they cannot outrun, a shadow they cannot escape, a conscience they cannot silence. That is the essence of Stoic karma. You didn't curse them. You didn't punish them. Life and their own soul did it for you. And while they live in darkness, you are free to walk in the light of peace, strength, and truth. When you are betrayed, the natural instinct is to strike back, to make them feel the same pain they gave you, to balance the scales by force. But the Stoics remind us of a higher truth. Revenge is unnecessary because life itself delivers justice. Marcus Aurelius said it best: "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." In other words, the moment you choose revenge, you become tangled in the same darkness that consumed them. You lower yourself to their level, and while you may win the battle, you lose the bigger war, the war for your own peace. Why revenge backfires? Revenge doesn't heal you. It ties you to the person who hurt you. It forces you to relive the betrayal, keeping their actions alive in your mind. Instead of freeing you, it enslaves you to bitterness. Meanwhile, your betrayer is not defeated by your retaliation. They are defeated by their own conscience, their own regret, their own karma. Their downfall doesn't come from your hands. It comes from within. Real-life example. Think of someone who was betrayed in business. Instead of plotting revenge, they redirected their energy into building something greater. Years later, their success became the ultimate statement, the betrayer forgotten, exposed by their own failures. That is the quiet, undeniable power of letting go. Or imagine a person betrayed in love. Instead of trying to hurt their ex back, they chose silence and self-growth. Time revealed the truth. The betrayer lived with regret, while the betrayed lived with freedom. The Stoic path, choosing not to seek revenge, doesn't mean you let them win. It means you choose not to waste your life on them. You guard your energy. You protect your soul. You rise above their chaos. That is real power. Because revenge may feel satisfying for a moment, but peace, real, deep, Stoic peace lasts a lifetime. Closing reflection. So the next time you crave revenge, remember, you don't need to hurt them. They are already haunted by what they did, their guilt, their regret, their emptiness. That is their punishment. Your task is simple. Rise, build, heal, thrive. That is Stoic justice. That is karma. And that is why you never need revenge. It's easy to think of karma as abstract, something vague, distant, or mystical. But in reality, Stoic karma is everywhere. You see it in relationships, in business, in families, in communities. Every betrayal carries its consequence, and every unjust act carries its weight. You don't need to look far. Life provides the evidence. Karma in relationships. Consider the person who betrays a loyal partner. In the moment, they may feel powerful, even justified. They believe they've upgraded, that they've found something better. But months or years later, the story shifts. The new relationship lacks trust, because deep down, they know what betrayal looks like. They've done it before. Suspicion follows them. Insecurity eats at them. The same blade they used on someone else now hangs over their own head. That's Stoic karma. You cannot build love on betrayal without it collapsing. Meanwhile, the one who was betrayed, if they choose silence and growth, often rises stronger. They discover self-worth, heal, and rebuild a life that radiates peace. The contrast becomes undeniable. One haunted, one healed. Karma in business. The same principle applies in the workplace. Think of a manager who steals credit for an employee's ideas. At first, they might gain recognition, maybe even a promotion, but over time, cracks appear. Their lack of true ability becomes clear. Their credibility erodes. Colleagues lose respect. And when failure comes, and it always does, the truth emerges. On the other hand, the person who chose integrity and discipline is remembered. Their consistent work builds a reputation that outlasts lies. Time reveals who was authentic and who was fake. That's karma unfolding in real time. Karma in families. Family betrayal is often the most painful. When a relative disrespects or exploits your trust, it cuts deeper than most wounds. But even here, Stoic karma works. That family member may think they've gained power or control, but over the years, relationships wither. Respect fades. They find themselves increasingly isolated because betrayal has consequences that ripple through generations. and the betrayed if they stand firm in boundaries and peace. They often create healthier, stronger connections with those who truly matter. The betrayer is left on the outside, haunted by the choices they made. Why Stoic karma is reliable. What makes Stoic karma so powerful is that it doesn't require intervention. You don't need to scheme, chase, or expose them. Life does it. Time does it. Their own conscience does it. Marcus Aurelius observed, "The wrongdoer wrongs himself.